Several artifacts and shocking discoveries have been made through the journey. What treasures have been found in the 6 episodes of the 11th season? Stay with us as we find out the 11 biggest treasures of the season. Number 10. Roman coins on Lot 5, Episode 1. In the very first episode of the season, when the metal detecting team began their search for ancient artifacts and lost treasures, they found an ancient artifact dated as far back as 2,000 years. The Roman coin was found at Lot 5, at the circular stone depression measured to be 13 feet in diameter and bears close semblance to the description of the money pit. After hours of careful excavation, another coin of Roman origin was discovered and found to be 1,000 years old. Excited about the findings, the team continued careful excavation, which led to the discovery of 3 additional antique coins, all taken for study. When the origin of the coins was traced, they were reported to have been brought to the island by the Knights Templar, who used the island as their resting place. This was not so surprising, as there had been clues all over the island about Templars inhabiting the area at some point. However, making such connections early into the season is reaching a personal best. Number 9. Ramrod Guide with Inscriptions, Episode 2. During careful digging and excavation of the circular depression on Lot 5, the team discovered a strange shell casing with spoils that were pieces of military arms. Among the debris and shell pieces, an artifact later discovered as a musket ramrod guide was discovered. This ramrod guide was different as it had an archaic Roman inscription, Viese, on its surface. This finding was similar to a 1970 artifact report in Smith's Cove on the island, where a 65-foot-long U-shaped wooden building with Roman numerals was uncovered. When taken to an expert for opinion, due to its size and shape, the ramrod is suitable for a musket and smaller guns. Number 8. Rectangular Feature Treasures, Episode 3. As archaeologists continued their exploration of Lot 5, another large depression was found, this time rectangular. Among the spoils of the feature, a 1762 dated piece of creamware was found, cementing the theory that Lot 5 was the site for a secret soon-to-be-unveiled operation. A pair of corroded scissors were also found. From its handle, it was observed that the object dated back to the 1700s. At the bottom of the feature, the archaeology team discovered a latch for lifting large objects. Most of the objects in the feature stipulated that something did happen on the island, but the buried treasure's exact location is yet to be unearthed. Number 7. Swarm, the Ancient Stone Ship, Episode 3. The 200-ton large treasure ship was built in the 1700s and found in the island's southeast section, a swamp area. Encouraged by the historical symbol that attested to Fred Nolan's being accurate about the existence of a large treasure ship on the island, the team searched a triangle-shaped swamp for other artifacts. They found several that confirmed Oak Island being a deposit ground for the treasures. Among what was found was a big sailing gallon and a piece of wood speculated to be part of the Conception shipwreck. They also discovered several ancient artifacts, including a 1700s glass bottle that might give a clue to the island's scientific and architectural awareness era. According to the experts, the boodle might also give clues to constructing the island's roads and the materials used. Number 6. Cribbing and Rose Spike, Episodes 4 and 6. Only a few artifacts found in Lot 5 gave clues to their architecture and construction skills. A piece of abandoned rustic iron was found while digging the rectangular feature. When it was first seen, it was a piece of tool. It was later identified as a spike used by the original builders of the tunnels and structures on the island. During the 1700s, the spike was a construction tool with a wooden handle and was widely used. A depositor is most likely shipped or bright to create pathways and complex plans that give only the original builder total knowledge of the treasures. When the spike was scanned, it was stated to match with the wood samples of tunnels, which confirms it was indeed used to construct the island's structure. While sifting through the debris from the depressions in Lot 5, Jack discovered a handmade square fastener, most likely created during the 1700s. According to historians, the spike was a possession of Sir William Phipp, the principal barrier of treasure on Oak Island. The square fasteners were unique from those found in previous seasons. It has a rose spike head and is corroded outwards instead of inwards, indicating its existence about a century before Oak Island was discovered. These spikes were used to build houses and large sea vessels. Most likely, it was not built on the island but shipped for a depositor's use, most likely in constructing a house, shed, or tunnel. When CT was scanned, the spike at the original stars was seen to have 2 holes on its head and was pure iron with high aluminium, a creation common in the 1600-1700 century. Number 5. Snipping tool handle, Episode 4. The rectangular stone feature is a huge hint to finding out the island's mystery and a deposit site of tools used when it was still inhabited. Close to the feature on Lot 5, a snipping tool handle was found among the possible treasure locations. The tool had a broken piece that indicated it was connected to something else, such as its handle. According to expert Carmen Lega, it was connected to a welded scissors shear. From observation, it was determined to be Spanish-originated and hand-forged iron scissors, and determined to be similar to Dan Blankenship's 1970s island artifact. When scanned for its manufacturing fate, the pattern of its corrosion gave a significant clue. The handle is much older than Dan Blankenship's scissors and most likely belonged to the island's hunters because it is rusting outward instead of inward. Number 4. Pieces of white ceramics and pearlware, Episode 4. In most episodes of Season 11, pieces of ceramic ware were found during the excavation sifting. Most of the pieces are cream and pink and have been determined to be popular in the English era, indicating they were most likely shipped or brought by the military or early searchers. Usually, archaeologists find and determine white-colored ceramic pieces to have existed around the mid-1700s. According to Helen, these pieces were white at one point and most likely, according to the dating, came from porcelain teapots. The pieces remain a mystery as most of the discovered treasures were already long buried before Oak Island was discovered. Tracing their exact origin might be difficult, but not impossible. Number 3. Underground chain link, Episode 5. While excavating and sifting the treasure of its debris and muddy sand, a metal detector was used to find small metal material, as the area was reported to have a high metal anomaly. Early into the search, the crew had a new discovery. A piece of metal, speculated to be either a staple or a chain link, was found amidst the mud. It seemed to have been broken due to lifting a heavy object or used to bond an object, a vault maybe. According to the metal detector experts, the chain link was possibly buried before the stone wall was constructed over it, and its breakage from the hole was likely caused by abandonment or soil disturbance. Number 2. Metal wedge, Episode 5. A large piece of metal, discovered to be a wedge, was found amidst the mud and debris from an excavation 80 feet below ground. When observed, the wedge seemed to be missing a part of itself. The missing piece was stated to be a wooden handle, and the wedge was a part of an axe. The metal wedge was reported to have originated in 1735 and most likely was an essential tool used for digging to bury treasures or to construct tunnels. Number 1. LED bag seal, Episode 5. An old coin belonging to an earlier century than the previous about Oak Island and is one of the foremost historians of its legacy. Charles first started working as an advisor to the Lagena brothers and is a production assistant for the show. A production manager can make anywhere between $66,000 and $115,000 a year, according to Salary.com. To add to his revenue, he is a published author. Aside from being known as a historian, the most interesting fact about him is that he is a Freemason and actually a Knight Templar himself. Some fans speculate that he is there to keep an eye on the island and lead the team away from finding the treasure. Of course, these theories are not believed by serious fans, and he is very well respected for his expertise, which he shares with visitors on the island as well as in segments of the show. Some even say Charles is the true treasure on Oak Island, whose salary as an Oak Island guide is estimated to be around $33,000 a year. His deep roots on the island are appreciated and lend authenticity to their work on Oak Island. All of his show appearances, his book deal, production credits, and tour guide salary would put him in the range of around $2 to $3 million. This is taking into account that he would not be paid the same amount as the main characters in the show, and because he does not appear in as many episodes. Laird Niven. One of the most important members of the crew is Laird Niven. He is an archaeologist and historic preservation expert who has been in over 117 episodes of the show. His skills are welcome, as they rely on him to protect and explain some of the treasures and clues they find on the island. An archaeologist can make a salary of $46,000 to $100,000 a year. Adding in the historic preservationist expertise, which, as a career, can make over $50,000 a year, can be counted on to make his expertise all the more valuable. So in truth, his salary as an archaeologist can be more than double the average, to over $120,000. Laird Niven describes himself as a self-employed archaeologist, and he studied sociology and social anthropology at Dalhousie University. But more than this important cornerstone of his identity, he is also a businessman. He is also the owner of In Situ Cultural Heritage Research Group, a company that provides archaeological, research, and historic preservation services that has been running for over 25 years. His company is internationally recognized, and his research group is said to be worth $22 million. His dedication to historical preservation efforts is well respected and acknowledged in the historical preservationist community. Like many of the crew on Oak Island, he gives a lot of interviews, seminars, and guest speaking engagements for different events and occasions. He is even slated to speak at the Chester Municipal Heritage Society's annual meeting in May of this year. Given the prestige, respect, and expertise of Laird Naivin, alongside his many episodes on Oak Island, his net worth is estimated to be around $4 to $5 million at the lowest. Some estimates would place him at $16 million. Rick Lagina. Rick is the older brother to Marty, and he used to be a United States postal worker. While living in Michigan, he learned to see the world in a very old-fashioned way. He lived by an old code of conduct where honor and determination meant everything. This is how he has been able to keep believing in his dream of finding the Oak Island treasure. A postal worker would make around $62,000, $122,000 a year. While this is a good living, it is unlikely to be able to fund a treasure hunt of the size needed to search Oak Island. His net worth has skyrocketed since joining the show, as he has been in over 160 episodes. Rick is estimated to have a net worth of around $20 million.
Glass from the 18th century was recently discovered deep within a cave. Both professionals, scientists, and other researchers are interested in this unexpected discovery. With the arrival of Craig Tester, who works with Rick and Marty Lagena, as well as fellow landowner Tom Nolan and other members of the team, the study into the enigma known as the Great Quadrilateral is resumed. Approximately 32 feet long and composed of stones, the object in issue may have been created hundreds of years ago, according to Fred. He drew a diagram in the 1990s, and the crew is now excavating the northeastern part of the quadrilateral. They are trying to find out who created it and why, in the hopes of discovering these things. Treasure hunter Gary Drayton will examine the finds for important hints and indicators of the location of the treasure as metal detectorist Billy Gerhardt excavates the feature. This finding might offer the team yet another nugget of knowledge on the period of time during which this feature was created. They dug deeper and tried to raise something, but it was a big curved piece of iron, and it was incredibly difficult. An 18th century glass was discovered in a rectangle that was dug up deep during the excavation. Due to the way it was coiled, its size, and its weight, they claimed that when the piece of iron arrived there, it reminded them of a chunk of a cannonball. This was brought on by both the size and weight of the particle. One of the crew members disclosed that he had been successful in finding a sizable number of them in the southeast region of the country. It may or may not be true, in Rick Lagena's opinion, that this finding could offer a significant hint as to who created the so-called Great Quadrilateral. But it's likely that Rick Lagena is right to make his assessment. In that situation, it becomes much more intriguing to think about the topic of what exactly its aim was. This would be a great site to find any wealth that may have been taken to Oak Island and buried there in the past. They all reached the same conclusion after something was pulled up, and then something else was reburied in the same spot. This is definitely unique. They hope to find additional artifacts and come to their own conclusions about what they may mean, since they thought there might be other boulders, and they also thought there might be. The team is currently working on the southern half of the feature, after just finishing the northern portion, where they found several items that may be of great interest. The mystery further intensified and grew more perplexing as they descended beneath the stone layer. The metal detecting expert Gary Drayton and the Oak Island historian Charles Barkhouse continue to snoop around on Samuel Ball's property in the 8th episode of the 4th season, The Mystery of Samuel Ball, and turn up a number of intriguing artifacts. This ongoing inquiry is known as the Mystery of Samuel Ball. Drayton and Barkhouse find a dandy button, a sort of button that was often worn on garments in the 1700s, near the start of the tale. They rapidly uncover several coins from the 1700s with King George II's image, as well as a lead ingot used to make musket balls. Drayton had the idea that all of these artifacts might be the remains of a military encampment after discovering what looks to be a metal tag from the bottom of a revolver with a name etched on it, which some online academics think may have been Samuel Ball's own name. Drayton's discovery of another object leads to the development of this theory. These campers from the 18th century either left their own treasure behind or were searching for hidden wealth. The only thing concerning Oak Island in the 1700s about which there is complete certainty is that there was a great deal of activity going on there. In the 4th episode of Season 7's The Lucky 13, Gary Drayton and Charles Barkhouse revisit Lot 21 to see if they can uncover any new information. In reality, they are successful in finding a pair. The first thing they find is an 1800s British halfpenny coin. The next thing they find is a brooch with a detailed design of a rope and a leaf on it. Marty Lagina will take some time to count the number of branches on the leaf after he has finished polishing the brooch. There are a total of 13 of them. This is a reference to the crew finding the Appeal to Heaven flag in the Lost and Founding episode from the previous season of Lost and Founding. The flag was flown from George Washington's own ships. The picture showed a pine tree with 13 different branches. A carving of a tree with 13 branches has been carved into a rock on Oak Island's northern side. Additionally, the number 13 is believed to have some form of significance, and the Knights Templar, an organization that is already closely associated with many of the artifacts found on Oak Island, are said to be connected in some way. Gary Drayton and his metal detecting team once more find evidence of activity on the island in the 17th century in Dead Man's Chest, the 2nd episode of the 5th season of The Curse of Oak Island. This time, the activity may have been from the military, potentially from pirates, or even from both. The crew finds a 17th century musket ball that was used in weapons before discovering what they think is a Maravedi, which is similar to the object found in The Find, the Season 1 finale. The difference is that this currency has been divided up into smaller, easier-to-handle pieces. Coins like the Maravedi were often cut in the 17th century to create change. This practice gave origin to the phrase "pieces of 8", which was later made well known by the classic pirate novel Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. Another puzzle piece that supports the idea that pirates visited the Oak Island coasts. Is it feasible that additional research on piracy has to be done? The Lagena brothers and Gary Drayton continue their search for hidden money in The Curse of Oak Island, Season 5, Episode 3, Obstruction, by looking into the Dunfield spoils. Robert Dunfield dug a hole that was 100 feet wide and 140 feet deep in 1965 in an attempt to find the rumored treasure that was supposed to be hidden on Oak Island. Ultimately, the large hole was filled in on its own, and the search for the treasures proved to be futile. The soil that was taken out during excavation, however, was not put to another use and ended up being called the Dunfield spoils. With the use of a metal detector, the Oak Island crew swiftly located a pair of English coins bearing the likeness of King Charles II on one side and the dates 1673 and 1694 on the other. These two coins' discovery on Oak Island in the 1700s suggests that either English military soldiers or pirates frequented the area. For more recent stuff, don't forget to subscribe and enable post notifications. In an effort to unravel hints about Oak Island's past and refute myths, they visit various parts of the island and speak with locals. The team also discovers gold close to the money pit, indicating that there might be further treasures there that have yet to be discovered. Even though they've encountered some difficulties, the crew continues to move and conduct their inquiry. Season 9 disproved Fred Nolan's claims of an ancient Portuguese presence while supporting Zena Halpern's Templar map. This discovery has restored their trust in their mission. Additionally, the group learns the top 10 Portuguese connections. The Lagena brothers are looking into the disappearance of the riches from Oak Island. The Portuguese Order of Christ, the Knights Baronet, and Prince Henry Sinclair are all seen to be potential contenders for hiding the treasure from Oak Island. The team encountered numerous rumors and plots along the road, which frequently cast a shadow over the wealth itself. Nevertheless, it appears that this season might be the one in which they ultimately succeed. Even though the current season is coming to a close, The Curse of Oak Island. Drilling Down is scheduled to air the next week. In Traverse City, Michigan, Maddie intends to meet with Rick, Marty, Craig, Alex, and Jack, according to the summary. They will review the amazing results of Season 10 and get a sneak preview of what is ahead in 2011. The origins of this mysterious energy are still a topic of discussion among NASA experts. Click the next video to find out more about this enigmatic power.